Okay. So you said you're gold 2 and you have a duo here.
Yeah.
49.55 in this VOD.
Mhm.
That's towards the end of the VOD.
Really?
Yeah.
That's weird.
What?
Oh, did it not record the entire game?
Oh yeah, yeah. It should have recorded the entire game. I went through it earlier.
Oh, okay. So was it a 20-minute FF or something then?
Let's see.
Because there's yeah. Oh, okay. So there's 25 minutes and then some. So you start red.
Yeah.
Or you open golems, obviously. Instantly, what you want to check is so you saw bot lane. The enemy bot lane showed up right away, right? So they didn't leash and they didn't do a camp. Okay.
Yeah.
So their jungler most likely started their Gromp solo, considering Nasus wasn't leashing either. So
Okay.
yeah, that means that they'll obviously be low HP. And who was their jungler here?
Kale.
Kale. Okay, so yeah, Kale can definitely, if she kites it out well, can do the 3 camps and then base if she uses both potions. But it's really tough. So what you could do instead of going E second is don't take an ability and walk into her jungle. And then if you see that she's doing blue, her health will be like, this is her health. It'll be somewhere around here. And this is actually cheese that works really, really well, man. Like, this is something that could take you up divisions alone if you understand it. So you know she did leashless Gromp, or she did leashless Golems, meaning that if you go here, it's super low risk because she's either low HP and you kill her, right?
Mhm.
Or you
Yeah.
go in and you steal the buff after putting your trinket ward over the wall, right?
Yeah.
Um, so that's one thing. Um, and if you want to go for this route, so what you're doing here is kind of iffy because if you see Gnar is pushing up top lane, like look at
Mhm.
his wave, it's huge and he's harassing Nasus, so that means that you know that when you auto attack the enemy champion, you draw minion aggro, right? So the lane pushes.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's pushing into Nasus, meaning that he's just going to be sitting under tower farming, correct?
Yeah.
So you're not going to really be able to pull off a gank topside. But you could possibly pull off a gank mid. But if you want to do that, you could still just take race and then loop back around here. And the timing would be a lot better than if you were to try to do blue and then loop back around. So you could just clear these 3 bottom camps and then gank into mid. If you were to take blue here, that would indicate that like you want to go for a top lane gank. So let's say in this scenario it was flipped. So like Nasus was on your team and he was stuck here, and Gnar
Mhm.
was pushing into him. Then you could do blue and go up to top lane and gank him.
Yeah. Okay, that's an interesting way of thinking about it.
You like as a jungler, if you have knowledge of the way the lanes are playing out and what each minion wave is gonna do, you can time your ganks like even 2 to 3 minutes ahead. And so you're always thinking ahead of the enemy jungler, and this is something that you could get to Diamond 5 alone just doing. I would go, look at this, look at how push Echo is. So what you want to do is, as gold 2 right now, you want to focus more on fundamentals, so if you don't want to F key, do you know what F1, F2, F3,
Yeah.
F4? Yeah.
Yeah. It switches on champion view,
Yeah,
whatever.
so try to do that, but if you can't execute it just yet, that's fine. But you should be looking at the minimap and realize how pushed up Echo is, and that's incredibly free.
I've tried it a couple of times. It's a bit hard.
Yeah. So see, here you're just wasting efficiency, just chilling there. Even though I know you're waiting for a kill to try to get the kill,
Mhm.
the chance of you getting a kill or even blowing a summoner is a lot lower because she's going to have heal, like her
Yeah.
W, to cast on herself. And she's not going to be as low as, say, if you had went into her part of the jungle there. So what you should have done was when you saw Echo pushed up, you gank right away, but you saved your Q, okay? And
Mhm.
you apply the red buff to him and you get the slow on him, and as soon as he flashes, then you Q him. And it's a guaranteed kill every time, especially with an Italy pouncing into him afterwards. Also, that the ward that you placed there, you could have just put like here or something, because you could have seen her crossing through there or crossing into here. You would have covered both paths that she could have potentially came from. Does that make sense?
Yeah. The reason why I didn't place the ward over there by the race was because I was thinking, well, I didn't have the exact timing, so
Mm-hmm.
I was a bit hesitant going there because if I placed the ward there, then that would have given away that I was going to invade.
But that's the thing, though. If you place the ward and then back out into this fog of war, she doesn't know where you're going. So
Yeah.
now she has to fear you and her jungle,
Mhm.
or she has to be wary of you going mid, but then she can't execute a counter gank because she's scared of her buff getting stolen.
No, okay. So, mind games basically.
Yep, exactly. Because you know that she has one goal, because you already have your double buffs, she doesn't. She wants to get that second buff, and she wants to be able to start stacking into Devourer, so she wants to farm her camps to be able to afford her item buys. Uh, yeah, just CS the minions. Better. Are you a jungle main?
Normally, no, I prefer to play AD carry, but I didn't really feel like playing it today, so I decided to jungle. It
Okay.
depends.
Yeah.
More often than not, though, I switch it up.
Okay. You can
But if I,
actually stand here or here so that the E procs on all of them.
yeah,
Um, but yeah. So already here, you see it's only 5 minutes into the game, and do you see how much stuff you could have done different that could have
yeah,
absolutely snowballed the game into your favor, and like you could be possibly level 5 right now with part of your jungle item completed.
yeah,
So here you should take the scuttle and base, get your uh, get your smite item, and then you can do a full clear, starting either at Gromp and going all the way down, or golems and all the way up, depending on how the lanes are. But you see here that okay, obviously the way Echo and Nidalee plays out. Nidalee, if she misses a skill shot into Echo or she just throws it at him, the spear won't push the lane as hard as when Echo is trying to Q Nidalee, right?
yeah,
So your only like truly gankable lane, this entire like lane phase so far, especially because bot lane is pushed, top lane is pushed, is mid lane. So what you want to do is take that scuttle crab and then um, if you see Echo is pushing, then you go into here, and if he bases, then you take this and then you power farm up. Or if you see that Echo based already, then you can go to
mhm,
golems and then power farm.
yeah,
You get full efficiency. Nice. That's good. Very good. Yeah, that was just really poor by him because I don't know. Yeah, he was pushed up and he had no clue what he was doing. But those are just standard solo queue ganks. Since you saw her here and you have your Q up, you can just put the ward right into the bush.
yeah.
Plus, a lot of times it'll confuse the enemy jungler as to where the ward is after they smite this. Oh man, so this is a really late back for your first jungle item because Kale has already based. Yeah, base again. If he's gonna get the kill here, then he's gonna do it solo. If this works out, it's only because Nasus is playing even worse. Um, but yeah, you're waiting way too long to base. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Um, I mean, you can't hear the comms because you have it muted, but my friend was telling me that he was trying to get
Oh,
six,
your
so
friend is the Gnar.
yeah,
Okay, that changes the dynamic of it a little more. All right, if he's telling you that he's about to hit 6 and go into Mega, and then you guys can execute a 2v1 dive because Nasus is low, now that's different. All right, makes sense. That's fine. But then it does not take away from the fact that it took you really long to get your first base in. Around this time, you could even be basing a second time and getting ready for the buff. So the buff should be coming up soon because it's
yeah,
7 minutes something. You can just go right into golems, or just path towards it, and then if this skirmish for some reason goes long enough, then you can join it. But yeah, you should go golems into here. I like the wards by a lot. That's very good. Not many people at Elo do that, and that can actually snowball you pretty hard. Just keep pathing the same way. I think the map pathing is kind of weird this patch, but... Oh, here, load up your Q, and then just go through them, and then smite for the buff for faster clear. Always try to, when you have AoE like this, if you hit the Q on these, and then you smite it, and then you hit your E, just by AoEing it, you'll clear the entire camp faster. So, like, split seconds could matter a lot more than you think. And putting it at the edge of the bush is alright. I think you could have moved it up like one more pixel, but yeah, you want to put wards at the edge of bushes to get the most vision out of them.
Yeah.
Don't smite this. Okay, good. That's good. And then you want to smite rates, because you're about to hit 6, and then you smite rates. Go Q right through them, so that the AoE kills them. Yeah, that's... Don't open with that auto. Just open up with the Q, and then smite it. Check to see for wards, and at the same time note what's happening in the side lanes, because again, 2 to 3 minutes beforehand you want to be thinking. So if Nasus is here and the waves are frozen, so let's say this is the lane. Here's the lane. So you're not scrolling up too much. So this is top lane. This is Nasus, and his minions are like here, here, here. And it looks like he probably has an extra. So we'll just throw an extra minion in there because of the way the wave probably built up. And then your duos has these or something. Or maybe like this one isn't there. This is pushing, right? So you know that you can go for this gank. Stand like right here. Hold on, let me clear this out. Stand right here. And then if Echo moves up a little bit, you Q right to the mouth, and Nidalee pounces on him, and just by the amount of damage you guys end up doing, he's dead. And if you time it right, and overlap CC, or not overlap it, but
chain it,
exactly, from Q into R, then he's just dead from the damage and CC altogether, plus then Nidalee execute damage. And then, after that, you have mid pressure because your mid laner is still alive and healthy, and then you guys push and you go into here, and you know that Kayle has no one to help her because you have vision of Nasus, you have vision, or you know that mid lane died, and then you have vision of bot lane. So you can freely roam into this part of the jungle, counter jungle if Nasus' lane isn't pushing, or if Nasus' lane is pushing, then you gank top. Okay, so Nidalee just ends up, I don't know why, she should have just frozen the wave instead of letting it push all the way. But once you see that, okay, once you see that, then just sneak behind her, and go through this route into here, and go for the Nasus gank again. Do you know what item your duo rushes? Is it Cleaver or?
I think he rushed Cleaver this game.
Okay, yeah, then if he was able to afford his Phage on first back, you definitely have kill pressure up top. See how you're idling for so long? When you could be either finding a gank or counter jungling at this point in time. Reset your auto attack with E. And just clear it fast before Kayle can get back down to counter gank. So you know that Kayle was just top. Let me check if she had her buffs. Because he finally panned over to another lane, which was good. Okay, so she had her blue. So you know that her red's coming up within... The way this played out, it's probably coming up within a minute and a half. So what you want to do is after you take this tower, ping mid here, eat the rates, and then if you see this icon come up, then you just go into Kayle and finish her off. Everything making sense?
Yeah.
Alright.
Definitely.
Oh my god. Okay, I'm glad you didn't go into that. So now that you decided to push up into here, there's no reason, because see what I said about red being up? So
Yeah.
now red's up, but Nidalee is low health because of the reckless dive that she just made. So you don't really have your mid pressure, but bot lane is pushed up all the way. So the enemy bot lane is going to stay at their turret the entire time. So depending on if your bot lane has enough minions to execute this dive down bot, you either go bot and you dive the enemy bot lane, or you can full clear wolves and grump, like kills wolves and grump. Also, one thing you're not utilizing is if you press tab and you check how much CS Kale has, if you're counting from the first clears into this, you can tell if she did this wolf and this grump. And then your jungle pathing becomes even more efficient, because even though these icons show up, you know that they're not there. So then you decide your pathing based on whether those camps are there or not, and if you can actually execute the dive, which you can't, because now we just found out that the minions, the minion wave wasn't big enough to execute the dive. But yeah, do you understand like why panning into the side lanes is incredibly important in setting up what you're gonna do next? Okay, good. Nice. This is a kill, yeah? Oh no. Okay. I thought she might have used it top one. They killed Nara. Oh wow. Okay, cool. Echo, yeah, Echo path I think into mid and then delayed in going to save Kale. Because otherwise he would have been there on time to land that stun. I wouldn't smite that unless it's contested. Don't smite Scuttle unless it's contested.
Alright.
So Nidalee just did your Wraiths, and bot lane is just still pushing up like 24/7, but they have good ward coverage now, so you don't really need to be wary of a kill counter gank. But because Nid did your Wraiths, what you can do is go up here, and if you see this lane is going to push, which it doesn't look like it is, you can just do Gromp and then go down to Wolves. By that time, this won't be up, but you can go into this Scuttle and then back up and then do Wraiths and then go down to Golems.
Okay.
Yep. The full clear is something that people don't really utilize much in solo queue, but because sometimes you'll get both your side lanes pushing the entire time like this, the full clear can actually be really useful. Your duo should have pushed this entire thing out.
You're very informative. I wasn't expecting that.
Oh yeah, man. I've been doing this for a really long time. So now that you decided to do golems, you have a couple options. Well, actually, because Nid took your rates, you don't have the option to full clear. Because walking past a dead camp is usually not efficient. I totally forgot when you did this buff. Did you do it on spawn? Wait, what is that ping? Holy shit!
Yeah, I get like 20. I get like 20 ping.
Oh my goodness, you're a lucky guy, man. But anyway, yeah, I think this should be up within a minute or so. So what you're gonna do is after you take this, go into Scuttle, take Scuttle, check Dragon Timer by tabbing, and then let your team know like that you want to set it up. And at the very worst, you base and then get something extra. Like I don't know what you end up going into. Because you have a tank, you could opt for more offensive itemization in this game. But and then at the very best, if their bot lane shows up recklessly because there's a full wave here, you ping Sona and you type dive, and then you loop around into Tribrush, and that's an easy double kill. Especially if you communicate with your duo to teleport. The smite. Okay. Oh, here's a good point. Let me go back a couple seconds. Okay, so where you want to ward is here at the tip of this brush and here at this intersection. Okay? If you get, especially after this tower is taken, because then your ward leverage and like your vision advantage is increased significantly. and you can make so many picks in this jungle and make so many plays with your bot lane if you communicate with them in this specific situation. Especially if I do not know how Vayne took turret first versus a Tristana, to be honest. Probably because Sona counters Janna, but anyway. And then, do you know the topside wards, like where they would go?
I will place one like here. Well, you probably can't. Can you see my cursor?
No.
Okay, well, I will place one at the edge of the jungle entrance, like
Here?
where you have, yeah, one there, and
Okay.
then I'll place one over. I will place one like right the wall opposite to the red buff, and that bush because I
Okay,
realized.
that one's correct. You're talking about this one?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that one's right. Sorry, that ended up being a line instead of a square. But especially because this tower is down, um, once obviously you wouldn't do this when Nidalee's all the way back here because it can get pretty dangerous. Um, but once you have leverage and like after your bot lane backs, because she's backing and
Mm-hmm.
the way she's moving, she's probably backing as well, unless she's going to be a greedy bitch and take all that. Um, but once your team resets and comes back out, then you can also do this. Obviously, you can't set forward, so it wouldn't be like here, here, and then both of these. But what you do is you coordinate with the support, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
you tell Sona ward here, and then you put your ward down there. And if you as the jungler buy one ward, right? You guys can
Mm-hmm.
get every single like this jungle will be lit up. So you have one ward. Sona puts down 3 from her sightstone, and you can get this, 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 and this vision. And their whole jungle is lit up, and you just snowball your advantage so hard that way. Just by pushing up wards. And you can even buy another pink ward and push it up to like a river brush or something, just because of this dynamic of, okay, like that tower's down, that tower's down, and Gnar keeps pushing in Nasus and abusing him. So we have like the momentum going forward. You can use your Q to farm more, especially because you're almost capped out at mana. Okay, now you don't use your Q anymore because you want to have enough for Q, Alt, and whatever, however many times you end up Eing into them. Go bot, go bot, go bot, go bot, go bot, go bot. So what you do here is Trail Echo, and you just saw Kale walking down because of that ward, right? So this is
Yeah.
like this information is so important. And then you watch what way is she direct inputting. Is she going down here? If she is, then that means their bot lane is here because she's aggressively moving down where
Yeah.
she can't counter jungle because your bot lane's there, and she just saw you cross through mid. So she's definitely trying to set up a play to gank. So that gives you also information on where their bot lane is. So now even though you don't see their whole team, you know Nasus just died top. You know the way. Okay, so she ends up moving up top side because hold on. The reason that she ends up going here is
Mm-hmm.
because she sees that this wave is pushing in, and Sona and Vayne were hugging tower at the time. But anyway, so even without seeing Nasus, he died up here, and the way Kale was playing, even though you don't see their bot lane, you know where their bot lane is. So just the information of, like that you know here, if you utilize it correctly, you don't have a fog of war, right? It's like putting in a cheat code to eliminate fog of war from the game, like in RTS games.
Yeah.
I'd like to see you tab a lot more, especially because no one's timing the objectives, which they don't need to anymore. But once you tab, you see the timer all the time, even if your teammate or even if your team didn't see the objective, correct? Because you know this
Yeah.
patch they switched that up. So that's really important information. Like as a jungler, it's your job to like lead the troops when it comes to objectives and let everyone know what's coming up and shot call in this fashion because you have a lot more information like just ready and at your disposal than you know. I'm trying to see. I would really like to see how the wave is playing out top. Um, but that's okay. Sona doesn't have ult, and Nidalee doesn't have any CC, and Echo can just E out into here. So I wouldn't follow them. There's no point in doing so. You would go into rates, smite rates for the buff, and then full clear, and then base for items. Okay, so he ends up escaping the other way. Yeah, definitely do the race first, just because it's more efficient to go from here to here to here, right? Like, because you're going the same way the whole time instead of having to go back up and go back down, which you probably won't end up being able to do without wasting a lot of time. Your duo partner is doing work this game, huh?
Yeah, it was a pretty relaxed game for me.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't happen too often, but I played like 3 games today and won all 3, so that was.
Oh man, this is vein spotting. Are you ready? What did Jana just AFK in the bush?
Yeah, he totally messed up there.
Okay, yeah, you should have definitely saved your Q for like if you were going to Q flash into Jana. Because you have to realize how much mana this eats up and how much mana you had. So think about when you're going into a gank or like a skirmish like this or whatever it may be, think how much mana do my spells cost? You can hover over them and check, and then how much mana do I have? And try to do a quick little addition game in your head as best you can. And even if it's just, in this scenario, all you would have to do is just see how much mana does this cost, how much mana do I have. And just not Q until you're in range to flash into Jana. Okay. So Hex Drinker is okay, but you want to think more of Hex Drinker as the item versus dot mages. I know you like the AD on it, but Hex Drinker is a lot better versus damage over time, and a Spectre's Cowl item is a lot better versus burst. They do have Kale, which is technically damage over time, but they have Echo as well. But here, because you're so ahead, you can justify the Hex Drinker buy. But make sure that the next time you base, you have enough for Merc Treads, because when you have, even though it's only 16 minutes, your team has this whole line of turrets, right? So you're gonna actually have to be moving around the map a lot more so than if like the game was a stalemate and it was just a farm fest at 16 minutes. Get another pink here. Even though you already have one down, don't let that be an excuse, because this pink that you placed was really good, right? But it was really good when this tower and this tower were still up. So now you can move up the pink, and here's what we talked about before, right? Because you can only place 3 wards. So let's say Sona's just stupid and not cooperating when you ask her to help you ward, right? So let's say you put your pink here, and then you put a green ward here, green ward here, green ward here, and now you single-handedly, as one man, lit up their entire jungle for your team. And that's a way to carry the game. Like, there are a lot of ways to carry the game other than looking at, oh, I did the most damage to champs, right? Afterwards. Or whatever it may be. Because bot lane has so much pressure here, and they have all of this lit up, and your duo is so ahead, and you know Echo is down here, that means that at the very worst, you and Gnar get a 2v2, and if you time your cooldowns right and bait Kayle into ulting, which she ulted early before, so my guess is that her tendency is to ult early, and then you focus whoever she doesn't ult, and then move forward to whoever she did ult after her ult runs out, then you can actually win this 2v2 with how ahead he is, and with your itemization. And at the very worst, you push them back, and then you counter jungle this, or you take tower, or the absolute worst scenario here is you get a nice ward out here, right? Like where it should be. And then you can clear vision of this area or whatever it may be, so that you can set up another pick later on. Tell your duo to upgrade his green trinket when he can. because if you upgrade Green Trinket as a top laner, it's really popular because remember the 2 places I told you about on each side of the jungle? So it's like
Yeah.
here, 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 and then on this side it's obviously here, 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 here. So like he's super pushed up, and he can just do this alone. He can be the one guy that lights up that entire side of the jungle for himself, and then he's really safe from ganks, and he can play as reckless as he wants, and he has really good vision into the enemy jungle camps, and he can also counter jungle when he wants, and that's called starving the enemy economy. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Pan up here. Your camera work when it comes to micro isn't bad, like around you. When you were moving it up in the team fight, that was pretty good. But when it comes to like macro perspective, you could be getting so much information out of the map. Nice, very nice. I like that. Yep. There was no need for the ult. You could have held it.
I used it because I thought Kale was in range to auto attack him again.
Yeah,
But I didn't like.
You can. Sorry for cutting you off, but you can see if you pan down, where is he and where is she? You know?
Yeah.
So pan down a little bit quicker there.
Mhm.
If I were you here, Dragon should. I think Dragon's up in a minute 30 or 2 minutes, but that's a really rough estimate. I would just back somewhere and then upgrade your sweeper and get Merc Treads. Check when you sweep this bush. First, check for a pink in there because a lot of people will put a pink in there, which is super incorrect, especially if this pushed up. You want to be tabbing to make sure that your timing for Dragon is good. And here you don't really have enough mana. Oh, hey, look what you found! My man!
It was all planned. I had to let him think that.
Yeah, of course.
I wouldn't find the pink.
Yeah, you got, so you smite here to help you catch out, and then blue just came up, so give that to your Nid. I've played with XJ9 before, and our mid laner asked for a blue, and he just laughed.
I mean, how long ago was this? Was this like season 2 or season 3?
No. This was earlier this season. I was actually a lot higher MMR than I was now. But anyway, you could have flashed into the Tristana there with the Q. But yeah, XJ he's insane, and I don't have respect for him, but I do have respect for his game knowledge. And it's kind of weaned off a little bit because jungling's changed a lot, but he'll just farm everything, man. And you know the thing I told you about, the full clears that a lot of people don't utilize in solo queue? He'll do that, and the best way to do it is, let's say, like I said before, let's say you have the Nasus and Gnar is pushing through, and then you're like, okay, the wave won't actually end up pushing into the Nasus in time, or in that short a time, so you can just clear all the way, and you get all this gold, and then you pull off a very efficient gank. Or, let's say, Gnar is pushed up as far as he is, and like he got ganked before by the Kayle and died to it because of the Nasus Wither and then the Kayle slow. You can get a counter gank off, and Vi is a really good counter ganker. So, oh, it's my Wraiths. Well, first of all, red sweep this area. Before you smite Wraiths, do that so that it doesn't blow your buff right away after you smite it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Just in case. I mean, they're not warding, but you always want to do the correct thing. Let's see what you itemize with here. Don't get greedy. Nice. Nice. No! No! Instead of cloth, upgrade this and get wards. Oh, look, your team warded in those spots. That's nice.
Yeah, this one was pretty good in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed no one was coming, so I didn't like want to
Yeah.
wall. Then like.
Okay, so now you communicate with your team. You have full vision, right? Man, you are a generous guy. You're handing out all the buffs today. So reset these wards that just ran out, and then sweep everything. Like, if you had this sweeper, it would have been good. And then instead of this potion, you get a pink ward, and these are green wards in that slot, okay?
Yeah.
So then you pink ward this, and you green ward these, and then you sweep this whole entire area so that you know for a fact that this is their vision. I'm about to show you, okay?
Yeah.
Oh my god, don't save a screenshot. So you turn their vision into this. You have to think about it from their perspective. This is all black. All that for them, they have no idea, right? And their
Yeah.
options are either to give up Nasher, which gives you an even bigger lead and snowballs the game even harder, and now it's really hard for your team to throw, even in this MMR, you know? And yeah, it's dude, I know the whole low elo roller coaster of throws back and forth, and it gets even worse. Trust me, Diamond 5 is probably the absolute worst place for throws. But yeah. Anyway, so you want to think like, how am I going to cut off their vision, and what's it going to look like when I do so?
Yeah.
Because yeah, either they give it up and you snowball with the Nasher buff, or they try to face check and you snowball with picks and the Nasher buff. And a lot of people will end up face checking, believe me.
This is when I die here.
Ooh, yeah, there was way too much dark behind him for that move. And your Vayne was bot lane as well. Yeah, I'm sure your team can end up winning this just because they're so ahead, but Nasus went Thornmail first without. Does he have any CDR?
I think he went Frozen Heart first, no?
Oh, Nidalee's going ham. Alright, here it goes. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Melee range that champagne poppy. That's what I'm talking about.
Me and my friend were laughing. I was like, oh shit, she's gonna die.
That's the vein spotting right there at work. Okay, so they made your job incredibly easy. You didn't even have to set up full vision and everything, but yeah, always keep in mind that you want to do the correct thing. Even if their team wants to throw and hand you the game, maybe that doesn't happen, you know? So you want to be setting all that up regardless. It's good that you didn't smite these because you already have vision into this entrance and your team has the momentum, so there's no need for like a defensive smite into the wolves. This is pretty good though. I like this. I like Grump buff. It's pretty nasty. Especially since I think Trista's so behind she might not even have lifesteal yet. Good. Damn, that ult does work, even with how behind he is.
Yeah.
But yeah, so these two slots beforehand should have been the wards that would still be here if you had placed them before, and then this should be upgraded by now. Because honestly, when you're this ahead, you do not need combat stats. Like, your team is gonna win team fights regardless of whether or not you have an extra cloth armor or two. You feel me? So like, you're much better off getting the vision that's necessary to make a pick and get objectives, and because that's gonna snowball you a lot harder than picking up an extra cloth armor or two. Oh man, you could have wound up the key from beforehand. Yeah, so this is incredibly reckless. As soon as you saw that she wanted to turn this corner, you saw they had reinforcements and she has no mana, just instantly start pinging away. Oh, and when you ping away, don't use the little V, like the little pussy yellow ping. You got to use the red one. Do you know how to use the red one?
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to do the one that makes a lot of noise. And then I mean, that's what I do. I can't flame my teams anymore because I'm chat restricted, so I just spam that one.
By the way, that was all planned.
Oh, okay.
It was a tactical bait.
Yeah, well, the issue is, you guys, if Echo is there, maybe it's different. But yeah, it's 3v5 would have been fucked. 3v4 ended up okay because Nidalee salvaged. Sona should not be coming. She should be basing because she has no mana, and then Nidalee can take this tower. Oh, Veins and Gold know how to pick up aggro. Yo, smite that. Okay, remember purple smite. So you just ace their team, and their only teammate is down bot, which is Echo, right?
Yeah.
But your purple smite gives health back. Remember?
Oh, okay.
So
Nope.
yeah, you don't really have risk of it getting stolen, so you can just smite that for the health. There you go.
Is it purple smite in particular? I know if you smited minions, you would get back health, but
No,
like
if you smite minions, you don't.
you don't.
It's only monsters. Yeah, so it's only jungle creeps.
Oh, okay.
Upgrade your.
The more you know.
Yep, for sure. And it is only purple smite that gives you the HP back. You should have bought this already and then been walking out of base while you're typing. So open inhib, you go to that, and then check for drag timer. Know a general idea of when drag's gonna be up 2 to 3 minutes beforehand, so that you can start setting up the wards. Because you don't want to set up the wards to dragon like right when it's about to spawn, right? Especially considering they could be waiting and like setting up a trap, setting up a pick, whatever it may be to get back in the game. Which nobody like would really know here, but that's the way you climb, right? You climb by doing the right thing. So I would, if I were you, yeah, I'd do this, but I'd leave Q up the entire time to bail if I needed to, because it could turn into 5v4 pretty quick. Which, with the way they're not focusing Nidalee whatsoever and just letting her pounce on everyone's face, it might still go your way again. Oh, baby!
I'm not sure if this van was like extremely calculated this game or just really lucky.
That's always the calculations with them, man. You could have smited Gromp there for the buff, because this is like end territory. Because if you have this, and you should be pinging your teammates away from this, actually. They don't have a minion wave, so like what the hell are they going to do? For some reason they killed the that also doesn't make sense. But you should be pinging them away because the risk is higher than the reward here. And the reward ended up being higher than the risk just because this kid needs to go to a hospital and get his shit checked out. But yeah, so you ping them away from this, and Vayne is pushing up a probably pretty nice wave up to here. And even if it only has like 4 or 5 minions into that wave, you guys can take that tower. Especially with Nashor. That's what you want to do. You don't want to like stay in the lane with an inhib down the entire time, especially if they have like a wave clear that can stack onto the super minion, like the E that Tristana has, and clear it. Instead, you want to take every inhib out and be safe about it. Oh, nice. That's fancy. They both actually flashed out, so they wouldn't get ulted. But you could have pulled off continuation ult there. Very good. You didn't use your random and slow. You could use it here.
Yeah, I was planning to, but he flashed.
All right, cool. Do you have any questions? Do you want to go over runes and masteries?
Yeah, sure. What kind of runes and masters do you run on Vi?
So on Vi, you want to go. I've seen a couple different ones, but in my opinion, and I think mathematically clearing wise, you go AD reds, armor yellows, and then a certain amount of you mix and match the CDR and MR per level, so that you can end up getting like a flat, maybe I'd say I would do CDR per level for 10% of it, and then MR per level for the rest of it. So that once you get Warrior, you have 10%. Then you get an extra 10% off of your Warrior enchant. And then let's say you get Frozen Heart versus a team where Frozen Heart would be good. Which their team actually had Kayle, Tristana, Echo autos a good amount, Nasus. So like Frozen Heart would have been pretty good. And then you cap out at 40, and you can ult a lot more often. And then the rest would be MR per level, and then your Quince would actually be attack speed. So yeah, for the clears. So yeah. And then masteries would be one. I don't have my league client open. I'm just gonna do.
I have so many mastery pages I don't usually use.
Yeah. So here you could do. What? Oh, here. Why can you put 2 points into blade weaving? Okay. Here. Am I missing something? No.
So are you like master?
I peaked master 60 points in LAN server when I got banned for 14 days on NA, but on NA I peaked D2, so not incredibly high, but
pretty impressive.
If you think about it, yeah, Samsung's head coach and their assistant coach the year they won Worlds were silver and gold, so yeah. You can have a lot of game knowledge without being super high elo.
Yeah.
But okay, so
don't worry, I wasn't judged. I was just curious.
Yeah, of course.
Just because you're high elo, like high elo doesn't mean you can coach well.
For sure. So yeah, those would be pretty good for Vi. Or even if you wanted to. Yeah, if you go the full 4 Fury, you can actually go an extra AD Quint and then put 2 attack speed Quints, because you'll still have the same amount of attack speed just about. So yeah.
Hold on, I'm copying. Give me a sec.
All right. If you have any questions, also feel free to message me on Skype whenever, and I'll get to you as soon as I can.
Sure thing. How many points do you put into Warlord? Is that one?
Yeah, it's one.
Just one?
Yep.
I've been told that Warlord's pretty fucking useless.
Well, yeah, but there's really nothing else in here that you would put it into. You don't really need the Butcher or Feast on Vi in the jungle, because her clear is already pretty good. So you could put it into here and just get a nifty little extra 2% that adds a couple little numbers onto your runes, and then like your warrior enchant, and let's say you snowball so you get like fucking Black Cleaver or something versus a double tank comp, you know? Oh, that's one thing also that gives you 20%. So you could go the 10% from warrior, 10% cooldowns per level, and then what's it called? The Black Cleaver for 40. I really like CDR on Vi. I like it a lot. You can do this. If you want early CDR, I'll show you. Let me reset it. You can go here, here, here. Do you have the first page written down already?
Yeah.
Okay. So with this you have 2.5, okay? And then if you max out your CDR glyphs for CDR like flat, they're 7.5. So then you get 10% at level 1. And then with your warrior you get an extra 10%, that's 20, and then if you get a 20% CDR item, that's 40. Make sense?
Yeah, it does. Might have to buy a couple more rune pages.
Yeah, rune pages are key.
I have a shit ton of RP, not RP, I mean IP built up, so.